Hey there, hope you are doing well. My name is Britton Johnson, and I'm going to be trying to train and give you a tool that we call our Forms Response tool. It's the ExpressEnroll Forms Response tool. And what it does, it's a pretty cool little tool that we've paid for, that we work with some very good IT people that's built some tools for us. What if I told you that with your ExpressEnroll data, you could take that data, put it on, copy and paste the fields onto one form, make sure that everything's lined up right, hit a button, and it will run through about, 20,000 computer commands and basically run what's called macros onto each template for every one of your carriers at once. Now, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect tool. But what it will do, it will put about 90 to 95% of the data that you need for different carriers' templates on their templates at one time and at one place. That is phenomenal if it's a scenario where maybe you're doing a dental account where you have all the dependents and all their information. You can go in, clean up that spreadsheet, email the spreadsheet, you're good to go. Or even better, take like an Assurity account where you can take that data, put it onto the Celerix Ben Select template, and then upload that template directly into Ben Select, and you don't have to manually key all of that information in. You will need to go in and make their benefits elections, but it's a phenomenal tool in that. And I want to share this with you today. So I have some new technology here, and I am recording two screens at once. On your left-hand side, you should see a spreadsheet. Now, this is just a fake account. Then all the names, dates of birth, socials, addresses, all this stuff has been changed to protect the innocent. This is a small enrollment. Looks like there's 4 people, but looks like they have some dependents. They've got spouses and kids and all this stuff. So I'm going to show you how to run this sheet. This is a phenomenal sheet. If you have 4 or more, I would recommend using the sheet. So this is what you see on the left-hand side are the results from an ExpressEnroll enrollment and that data that's collected. What you're about to see on the right-hand side of your screen is the actual ExpressEnroll Forms Response tool that we have. Now, this tool is in your partner app. Okay, it's built in it. You've got quick access to it. So the first thing I want to do, if you look at the right-hand side, I'm going to open up my personal partner app, and I'm going to show you how to download the Forms Response tool. Its default place is inside of our Google Drive. That is a Google Sheet when it's in Google Drive. You cannot use it while it's in Google Drive. You have to download it, and there's a couple of things that you have to do after you download it. So let's start there. I'm going to open up, over on the right, you're going to see that I'm going to open up the app. Now, I have colored my mouse a little bright yellow, green, whatever color you want to call it, so you can see it a little bit better, so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit Get Started in my mobile app. I'm going to scroll on down to the Carrier Census Templates and Tools. I'm going to open up the VIP Forms Response tool. Okay. Now, as I open it up, what this does, this goes into Google Sheet format. Okay, it cannot be used as a Google Sheet, so it's not downloaded yet. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to hit File. I'm going to download. I'm going to download it as a Microsoft Excel file. Okay, I'm going to save this to my desktop for now. I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to put fake account at the front of this. And I'm just going to save it to my desktop. Now I am able to identify that Excel file. So I'm going to go ahead and close this window. I don't need it for anything else right now. I might later. I'm going to minimize this app because we will need the app later. Okay? So today we're just going to do a couple of carriers. Let's say that we're going to do we'll just say a Beam Dental today, and we will do a Assurity enrollment today. So again, all we're collecting and getting together is the demographic information. The way that it's laid out on the template, though, is very important. But by doing this, it's going to save a lot of time from having to manually input all of the census data. I'm looking at one family here that has a spouse and 3 children. That's a lot of information to type. And you definitely don't want to have to do it in front of the employer and the employee. So it's much nicer and much better to use a tool like this. All right, let's go ahead and open up this folder. As you can see, it says Fake Account ExpressEnroll. I'm going to go ahead and open this thing up. And this is my tool. Now, notice it's asking me, this is very important, I need to enable editing, and then I'm going to need to enable macros, okay, where it says macros have been disabled. Enable content, all right? That has to happen in order for this to run. Now, if you take a look at the bottom of the screen here, all right, the bottom of the right-hand screen, you're going to see it says Home Form Responses. Now, Form Responses is where we're going to copy our information from the Google Sheet from your ExpressEnroll, and we're going to put that information onto the Forms Response tool, okay? But before we do that, I'm going to show you the other tabs that are here. You'll see a Beam Dental tab. This is the template that Beam Dental needs when you're doing an enrollment. The Assurity Employee tab, the Assurity Dependents tab. This is the template that is used to upload properly into Celerix. There's some important things about this. The Competitive Health, Telehealth, and EAP system, it'll put it all in here. And even Options Plus, our MEC plan. It will put 95% of all of the data at once in all of these formats. And after this data is put in, all we have to do is copy and paste, clean it up a little bit to make sure that it matches the template data that they need, and then you should be good to go. So I'm going to go back to the Forms Response tab. You can see that it looks very similar to what you have here on this Google Sheet on the left. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the first name, and I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to we want to make sure that all of the columns actually line up. So I'm going to go all the way to the employee's gender. I'm going to copy here, copy. I'm going to go to the first name here on the first row and first column, and I'm going to paste. Okay, that information is in there. This does not mean that it is correct. We're going to talk about the things that need to be corrected as we move forward. However, what I want to do is I want to copy the rest of the data. Now notice on this Forms Response tool that in column R here, it says, are you a tobacco user? That is not a question that's on this form, okay? So we're going to skip this row. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start where it says, are you covering a spouse? I'm going to highlight, I'm going to drag my mouse over, and I'm going to go all the way to the spouse's social, all right? So I'm going to copy this area. I'm going to make sure everything lines up. And I'm going to, whoops. And I'm going to paste. So that should line up. All right? I'm going to go ahead and move over a little more. It says, how many dependent children are you covering, right? So this is the same question here. I'm going to take this, I'm going to drag, and I'm going to go all the way to child 1 social. Actually, I'm just going to go to child 1 here. I'm going to copy. I'm going to paste. I'm going to go to child 2. Let's go ahead and move this over so we can see it. So child number 2 is here, the child 2 section. We're going to go ahead and copy. It's good to take your time on this. If we get in a rush, things get overlooked and things get missed. Okay, so just take your time. Believe me, the time that you're going to take on this actually takes less time than it does to manually key this information in. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to make sure that we are going to paste it in the right place because we are on child number 3. I'm going to go to child's first name, and we're going to paste. Okay, now some things that we need to pay close attention to. If you were to, and if you take a look on the right hand side, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see here. Let's zoom in to about 130. Oops. Not 830. Okay, I'm zooming in so you can see the screen a little bit better. I know it's a small screen, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. All right. So let's take a look at what we have here. On the right, you will see the first name, last name. Those look pretty good. The date of hire looks good. Notice the gross annual income. Some have commas in it. Some of them don't. What I like to do is I will just change this, make sure that it is a currency. So I'm going to make this a currency, and it should line up pretty simple. Their date of birth looks good. Here is a biggie, okay? Take a look at their socials here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see this a little bit better here. Let's zoom in a little more here. We're going to make this 175% visibility. All right, so you can see their emails here. And this is, by the way, emails are required for the telehealth. Just make sure that you have those in there. So notice in the socials, there's one person that has hyphens in their socials. You want to make sure that all hyphens are removed, okay? If you remove the hyphens, you are going to be good to go. No hyphens in socials. Dates of birth look pretty good. It's a good format. Another thing you want to do is notice the state of their address. So you want to abbreviate the state. So in this case, we're working in the state of Colorado. I'm going to copy and paste this in every one of these. Zip codes look good. Genders look good. If you're covering a spouse, now having the word no or yes in here is an important factor. Do not leave this column blank. We've got Joe Blow as a spouse here. He's born January 1st, 1987. He's a male, and it looks like we messed something up here, okay? This is a good thing to look at. Now, on this screen, notice the question says, how many dependent children are you covering? But yet the answer to that is right here in child number 1. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to take this, we're going to go across, and we are going to cut and paste this information, all right? So we're going to cut and paste. I'm going to cut. I'm going to go back to where it needs to go, and I'm going to paste it right here. That probably fixed this, but we just need to make sure, right? That looks pretty good. Their gender, their date of birth, everything looks correct. Child number 2, that information looks correct. Child number 3, that information looks correct. And no one had any more than 3 children in this group. All right. We are ready to rock and roll on this. All right. This is cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the home screen. So look at my mouse. I'm going to hit home screen, and I'm going to run carrier sheets. So there's no confusion. I'm going to go ahead and close my Google Sheet for now so you see what I'm working with here. All right. So I'm going to run the carrier sheets, and you're going to see that it's going to run through a complete, pretty interesting process. All right. It might look like your computer is going to blow up when it runs through this. I promise you it is not. All right. It's a pretty good system and saves a lot of time, especially on the multi-carrier offering. All right. It's very important that you know how to use this, unless you like typing a whole lot of spreadsheet stuff. Either way works for me. It looks like it's almost done. It's going through its process. We'll give it just a little time. And again, it might look like your computer's about to blow up. I promise you, you're going to be okay. All right, we are good to go. So let's get into each one of these spreadsheets. Now, I said that we're going to do an Assurity, a Beam. Well, we might as well do a bunch of them here, but let's start with Beam, okay? Now, all I have to do now is go to the lines. If you look at my mouse here, I'm going to go to the lines where do not have any people. All right, so that's the first thing I'm going to clean up is I'm going to delete those lines where there are no people. Now, this doesn't mean that every person enrolled in dental, okay? It's still my responsibility once I've copied these and put them in the appropriate template. And that's what you need to do. Basically, what you're going to do is you're just going to copy and paste this information into the real template, but this does format it the right way for you, okay? But once you've done that, then you need to cross-reference your enrollment sheet with what they've actually enrolled in, okay? So don't just sign everybody up just because you put everybody on here, right? Make sure that your elections are chosen the right way, okay? Now, as you can see here, we've got Alex here, who's the employee. Julie here is the employee. Joe is the spouse. Okay, so it actually formatted this very, very well. All right, this looks pretty good. Beam Dental, they just need a spreadsheet. So in this case, all I have to do at this point is put in what dental policy they've enrolled in, or if they've waived, what vision policy they've enrolled in. I can copy this, put it on their template, and email this directly to Beam, and I'm done. I'm done with the enrollment. It is truly that easy to enroll Beam Dental in this scenario. All right, now that we have done our Beam Dental that we would copy and paste and put into their platform, let's look at Assurity. So if I go into Assurity Employee, now Assurity's census template is considerably different. You have two pages, you have two tabs essentially. You have the employee page and then the dependent page. Now the dependent page is actually triggered by the employee social. So you do not need the spouses or kids' socials to enroll them. However, you do need to tie that to the employee social, and this form does that for you. Okay? So if you take a look here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit more here. We're going to zoom in to where you can see it a little better. We'll go 125%. All right. So as you can see on the employee tab here, we've got their first name, last name, date of birth. All that looks pretty good. Notice it put the hyphens in it. Even though you didn't have the hyphens on the front sheet, it structured this the way that it needs to be. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll over here. This looks pretty good. Now, notice on their address, it has CO for Colorado, right? This is a biggie, all right? Their location, for some reason, actually needs to spell out the site estate for the group. So in this case, I'm going to type in Colorado. And I'm going to simply copy these. And I'm going to paste Colorado in these three columns. All right? Okay. Notice the salary. Some of it shows currency, some of it doesn't. Why? I don't know. So I'm going to change this to currency. Make sure it lines up right. And it looks pretty good. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and look at the payroll frequency. Now let's just assume that this group is they're doing their deductions once a month. So I'm going to make 12. All right? If their payroll frequency and payroll deduction frequency is 24 weeks or 24 pay periods or 26 pay periods, 52 or 12, be sure and indicate that on here and copy it the right way. I will tell you this will not upload if there are duplicates people. It will not upload those duplicates. And if this payroll frequency and everything isn't lined up just right, you are going to run into some upload challenges. Again, this is still way faster than manually keying everything in. Everybody works 40 hours a week in this group. So we're going to copy here and paste it as well. All right. Now, this looks pretty good. Okay. Everyone is in here for the Assurity Employee tab. All right. Let's talk about Assurity Dependents. So I'm going to go to the Assurity Dependents tab here. Now what you're going to see is an interesting little format. Now there was only one person in this group that had dependents, and this person's social ended in 5100 in this case. Now you'll see that the dependents are numbered 1 through 6. That means that you're allowed to have up to 7 dependents. That's one spouse and up to 6 children in this format. If they have more than 6, sorry, you're going to have to manually key that stuff in. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to clean out what we don't need, just like we did with Beam Dental. I'm going to take these rows, I'm going to delete them, and then we're going to take these folks and we're just going to delete these off. All right. Now I have all of my dependents in. However, looking at this, I still need to have the location. So I'm going to put in Colorado. I'm going to copy and paste this bad boy. And I'm going to drag it across. All right. Let's say we did competitive health telemedicine. Okay, very simple again. I'm going to go down here to the telehealth tab. I'm going to click that, and you're going to see every person on here. Now this is phenomenal when an employer is paying for it. You just have everybody on. It's pretty easy. We'll put an effective day of 02/01/2022, and we'll just copy and paste these. And we literally can do our secure email upload directly from this. And it is an absolute piece of cake. All right, absolute piece of cake. So pretty cool. You see three carriers that we just did. We can even do an Options Plus MEC plan. You see their information is already in. We just need to fill in the blanks, right? It's very, very easy to do. You can choose their coverage type, what level of coverage they have, and we can email this stuff in. Now, what you have here is not the official template. Understand that. This is simply a tool to help you copy and paste the formatting. So just for grins and giggles, what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize this window. Okay, I'm going to keep it open. It's at the bottom of my screen here on the right, but I'm going to go back to my app. Okay, and let's say I'm going to write a surety, and I need to upload the census into their platform. Okay. Now notice I have a template here, okay? Again, this is not an Excel file. This is a Google Sheet file right now. So I'm going to need to download this. All right, I'm going to go to download. I'm going to download this as an Excel file. And I'm going to save it for now to my desktop. And I'm going to name this fake account at the top, just like I did the other one. I'm going to hit save. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open this up on the left screen so you can see exactly what I do to put this in my Assurity template. Okay, so let's open this bad boy up. This is the ExpressEnroll tool on the left. We'll minimize this and we will open our fake account template that we just had. So let's let this thing open. I'm going to enable editing, and I'm going to drag this to the screen on the left here. By the way, I highly recommend that you invest in and have a second monitor. In today's day and age, these are not expensive. They're pretty affordable and pretty easy to do. Okay, so I recommend having two monitors. It just makes your life a lot easier, a lot less clicks. It's simpler. So on the right-hand side, we have our Forms Response tool, right? And I'm going to go to the Assurity Employee tab. Now notice here on the left where you're looking at the Assurity Employee tab, okay, or the Assurity Employee tab on their census. Now up at the top of this, I have some samples of what it should look like. Ultimately, I'm going to want to delete these, okay? So all I have to do, if you look over here on the right-hand side, you're going to see the lines, and I literally can copy all of this at once, and I'm going to paste it right here in row number 11 on the left, just so you can see that it's going to line up. All right, everything here should line up according to the template, and I will tell you the way that this looks right here, this is going to upload into Celerix just fine. So, but it's always a good idea to check this stuff out. Notice the socials are on the left-hand side here. I believe it will work without it being on the left-hand side, but just in case, I'm going to change the alignment over to the left. All right, just make sure things line up and they look the same. Makes it pretty easy. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these fake rows here that we use as a guide. I'll delete that. And notice they're up at the top of the page. All right. now I'm going to go down to the spouse independence page on the left. Again, this is my template, and this is what I can look at to reference to make sure I'm doing it right. I'm going to go to the Assurity Dependents tab on my Forms Response tool, and all I have to do is copy these rows and then paste them on this sheet. I'm going to paste them here on row 7. Make sure they line up. Looks pretty good. And if you remember, only one employee had dependents, so that's why you see only this person. So Joe, Tiramisu, David, and Derek. All right, we're going to highlight these samples. Everything looks good except for one thing. All right, this just caught my eye. Notice in the template it has F or M for male or female. Make sure that lines up right. So I'm going to make those females Fs. I'm going to make those males M. Now we know it's lined up pretty well. All right, I'm going to delete these samples here. Okay, now I can save this. If I hit File and then Save As, I'm going to name this, as we'll just keep it as the fake account Assurity census upload template, right? So we'll replace it. It's good. All right. So I now have my census created to simply upload into Celerix and Ben Select. Again, if you have maybe 4 people, it might be faster to manually key it in. If you have 5 or more, I absolutely recommend using this tool. The more that you use this tool, the better you will be at it, I promise. Okay, so take advantage of that. It's worth it. I guarantee it. All right, I guarantee it's worth it. No question about that. Beam Dental, again, if you look on the right, you'll see that we've got our information. We literally can copy and paste onto Beam's Excel sheet just the way that we did it here with Assurity. We can do the same thing with Competitive Health. We can do the same thing with Options Plus, and you should be good to go. So that was a 30-minute class on how to use the tool, okay? Practice. The best way to do this is to simply do it, all right? All the classes in the world aren't really going to teach you. This is really made to be a good reference for you. I hope this was helpful. Thank you very much for your time. Have a fantastic day today. See ya.